All right, let's dive into a story that is so wild it feels like it was written for a movie. We're talking about a massive jewel heist at one of the most famous museums in the world. But here's the twist. The whole thing accidentally launched one of the most brilliant marketing campaigns you'll ever see. So, how did a crime become an ad? Let's get into it.
So this is it. This is the ad that pretty much broke the internet. It's from a German company called Booker that makes furniture lifts. It's so simple, so cheeky, and they posted it just one day after their product was used to pull off a huge robbery. The audacity!
And that's really the big question we're digging into, isn't it? How do you get from a high-stakes crime to a viral marketing win? How do these two totally separate worlds crash into each other in such a public and, frankly, spectacular way?
Okay, so to really get why that ad was so clever, we have to rewind a little. First, you need to understand the crime itself. And this wasn't just any crime. This was a heist that was planned with almost military-like precision, targeting some of the most precious historical treasures in all of France.
So, picture this. It's a Sunday morning, October 19th, 2025. We're at the Louvre Museum in Paris. The target? Well, it's the Apollo Gallery, which just so happens to be the home of the French crown jewels.
And you just have to look at how fast this whole thing went down. It's incredible. At 9:30 in the morning, they show up. By 9:34, just 4 minutes later, they're inside the gallery. They spend less than 4 minutes smashing cases and grabbing the jewels before they're out the window and escaping on scooters at 9:38. The entire thing, from start to finish, was under 10 minutes. A true surgical strike.
And what did they make off with? The estimated value is a mind-boggling 88 million euros. But honestly, even a number that huge doesn't really capture what was lost here. The cultural damage is just immeasurable.
Yeah, these weren't just any old jewels. We are talking about a necklace Napoleon gave to his wife, a crown with over 2,000 diamonds, a sapphire set that belonged to the last queen of France. These things aren't just jewelry. They're actual physical pieces of French history.
So, of course, this leads everyone to ask the same thing. How in the world does this happen? At the Louvre? I mean, it's supposed to be one of the most secure buildings on the entire planet.
Well, after the heist, an audit found some pretty shocking problems. Turns out there were huge blind spots in the surveillance coverage, the security tech was old, they didn't have enough guards, and this is the big one, they had really weak procedures for checking outside equipment. The thieves weren't just lucky, they knew about these weaknesses and exploited them perfectly.
Now, to understand just how grim the situation is, you have to know this term, commodity theft. This crime wasn't about owning a piece of history, it was just about getting the raw materials. And there's a really important difference here. You see, in a normal art crime, there's a chance you'll get the piece back, because its value is in keeping it whole. But with commodity theft, the whole point is to destroy it, melt down the gold, recut the diamonds. The moment that happens, its history is erased and it becomes basically impossible to trace.
Which brings us right back to where we started this whole story. Because while the art world was reeling from this devastating loss, one company in Germany saw things a little differently. They saw an opportunity.
And this is the company, Becker, a pretty traditional family-owned business. And get this, the lift used in the heist was theirs. It had been stolen just a week earlier when some thieves pretended to be customers. So when the CEO sees his own product on the news right there at the crime scene, he and his marketing team decide to just lean into the absolute chaos of it all.
And oh boy, did they lean in. The result? It was explosive. To put this in perspective, a typical Instagram post from Booker gets maybe 20,000 views. Their heist ad? It shot up to 1.7 million. You're looking at a masterclass in turning a really bad situation into a viral marketing sensation.
And for the most part, people absolutely loved it. They loved the boldness, the quick thinking. Social media just blew up with comments like this one, basically saying the marketing team were geniuses who deserved a raise.
But of course, not everybody was laughing. Some people, especially in France, felt the ad was in really poor taste. They called it black humor and thought it was making fun of a serious national tragedy.
So, where does all this leave us? You've got a viral ad, a world-famous museum in shock, and a bunch of priceless historical artifacts that have simply vanished. So what's next?
Well, we do have an update. About a week after the robbery, the French police did arrest several suspects. But, and this is the most important part, while they have some people in custody, the jewels themselves are still missing.
And if you look back at other big heists in history, the outlook is, well, it's a mixed bag. The Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre way back in 1911, and they got it back.
But the art stolen from the Gardner Museum? Still missing after more than 30 years. Even with the Dresden jewel heist, they only got some of the stuff back. The odds are just not good.
And this quote from a gem expert really drives home that grim reality. Remember, this was probably a commodity theft. The experts all agree. The jewels have likely already been taken apart. They've essentially been erased from history.
Which really leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. The physical objects themselves, the gold, the gems, they're probably gone for good. What's left behind is this unbelievable story of a lightning-fast heist, a major security failure, and the company that accidentally got involved and spun it into marketing gold. You have to wonder, is that story the only thing we have left of their legacy?